their best to be really discreet when it comes to the signals. It's just hard to get very complex in terms of getting into the real details of your calls. Normally when you have hand signals, they're more so just go-to calls or vanilla coverages, things that are easy to get to, but maybe can also be easy to exploit offensively. So you got to be careful between a mixture of, signals from the sideline and hand signals and getting the comms inside of the helmet as well.
And I think it's such a big factor in tonight's game. And you look at one of the key matchups, Penn State's defensive ends against those Oregon offensive tackles. And it's worth pointing out for Jim Knowles now, this is just game number 4 as the defensive coordinator here for Penn State, and you cannot have communication breakdowns against an Oregon team that one breakdown 75 yards, it's in the back of your end zone with how explosive they are. So this is a big test for that defense to be on the same page, communicate well, because Jim Knowles' defense, this is their first real test this year.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of that is going to fall on Amari Campbell, on Tony Rojas. And when I was there, Brent Pry was our linebacker coach at the time, and he always used to tell us, like, if the call doesn't get out, if that doesn't get communicated to the rest of the guys, it's on you in the linebacker room. That is our job, number one, is to communicate and be the leaders vocally from that standpoint. So it's going to fall on Tony. It's going to fall on Amari. They have to make sure that these calls not only come in, but they get communicated all the way out, from the outside all the way in to the guys up front.
Well, this is a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game. Oregon basically from wire to wire, 45-37 the final score, in what was an offensive game. And you can see Drew Aller played maybe one of his best games as a Nittany Lion, trying to bring his team from behind, 20 for 39 in the game, 215 yards, 3 touchdown passes, but also had 54 rushing yards and a touchdown in the game. Penn State fell behind in that game. One thing you don't want to do against Oregon is play catch-up. Dan Lanning is 29-0 as the head coach of the Ducks when they score first, and they are also 28-0 under Dan Lanning when they lead after the opening quarter. But that game there last year, an offense-heavy game. Penn State fell behind, and Drew Aller played well. And I can't believe we made it 10 minutes into the show without talking about the Penn State quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. From a stat line standpoint, it didn't necessarily pop out, but when you watch that tape, Drew did things that I think all of us are expecting and what the main heads are talking about, and we're going to hear from Coach Franklin. He's been talking about it. Like, Drew's going to have to make these plays to elevate the people around him. He's going to have to make the plays that aren't necessarily there, but with his talent and skill set can become there or become open. And you saw that because they had to play from behind. It was a team who even last year didn't play from behind much and really wasn't built to be able to do that with the weapons they had really outside of Tyler Warren. And it's a completely different ball game this year. But again, if you're not used to doing that, if that's not how you approach the game and you're forced to do something that you're not comfortable doing, it can present an issue. But this is a career-defining moment for Drew tonight, I think, in a lot of ways. And I'm really excited for the opportunity for him.
And I think we've had teams in the past couple years that we could describe as maybe starting slow sometimes in the first half. And I don't think there's a game more critical than this game when it comes to how important it is that this team starts fast today. Because you mentioned it, 29-0 when scoring a touchdown first, 28-0 when leading after the opening quarter. I mean, those are staggering numbers. So I can't say this enough. It is very critical that Penn State goes out there today, whether it's defensively or offensively, whoever is out there first, that they go out there and they set the tone and set it very quickly, because not only that, but a guy like Dante Moore, who hasn't necessarily played in this environment yet, may be heavily affected. It's a possibility we start out really fast on offense. Oregon's offense ends up looking a little frazzled as maybe has difficulty handling the noise and handling the pressure in the environment, and maybe we can catch an early lead and hold on to it and game plan from that standpoint. So it'll be important.
Yeah, I want to talk about that quarterback matchup a little bit more and take a look at the stats this year for Dante Moore. It could be who plays the best between these two, right? You see 11 touchdown passes, just 1 interception, completing about 75% of his passes for nearly 1,000 yards through 4 games. This is a guy who's gone out and played. They've let him play. He's made the big play. And I think from the Penn State side, you're waiting to see Drew Aller just go out and let it fly tonight.
Without a doubt, and this Dante Moore kid presents a ton of issues. One of the things that I really want to dive into is looking into this game and not really paying attention to the Oregon Ducks. I always thought he was kind of an A+ runner, a B+ passer. Really, the script is flipped, and I think we can look in here and dive into some of this from a video standpoint. And this is a perfect example of that, right? This is a kid who When coverage is good and you create rush lanes, he's going to take advantage of it and hurt you. And this is in third down situations, climbing up in the pocket and being able to accelerate and get those first downs. It's deflating for a defense, and we're going to have to be really, really sound in our pass rush today. And then as you move on, talking about passing and maturity, for a guy who really hasn't played a ton of football, this is your prototypical West Coast concept here. You got mesh with a little OTB coming over the middle, and when you have a kid who's sitting there confident, being able to deliver a football into a tight window and go, you don't really see that from young players. He's got a lot of guys on the outside that I'm sure have made him comfortable. And then this throw right here is just one of those throws where you don't have a ton of people on the planet that can make it. A 35-yard back shoulder to one of your bigger players. He's throwing the ball with a ton of confidence. He's playing with a ton of confidence. And then obviously here, feeding another one of their big players in Kenyon Sadiq up the sideline for an easy touchdown. But as you go through this and you really watch Dante Moore, he's playing with a ton of confidence for a young kid. The thing you guys brought up about the environment, how does he handle it? That's when I look at this matchup from a maturity standpoint. Drew obviously has the upper hand. He's been here, he's done that, he's been in these moments. This kid hasn't quite been tested, and I think you're going to find out if he has the brass and the fortitude mentally to be able to overcome those things and still play with that level of confidence.
Really a testament to him, too. He was at UCLA, transferred to Oregon, and sat behind and learned from, and he's spoken about how valuable it was to learn from a guy like Dylan Gabriel. For Penn State fans that remember the Big Ten championship game last year, Gabriel is a shorter quarterback. This guy's 6'3". He doesn't need the seized apart to pass the football, and he can do it to his right, to his left. And you talk about rush discipline. Why is that so important in a game like this, especially with the talent Penn State has at defensive end with Denai Dennis-Sutton and Chaz Coleman and the whole group, Zariah Fisher coming back, what they have at defensive end so far?
I can dive into it, and I want you to drive into it. But I think really what it is when you have all of this emotion, when you have a 3rd and 7, and this crowd is going to be going absolutely bonkers, you have to be cognizant of that because this kid can burn you. So all the emotion, it's hard to kind of have a guy think about that, but I got to be disciplined. I got to do my job as opposed to I'm trying to go make a splash play here, a play that could swing the momentum of the game. You got to be real. You got to pick and choose when you do that because this kid can burn you.
And it's tough, I think, on a defensive coordinator because I feel like, on 3rd down, you want to just let your Bulls freaking go and get that quarterback. But it's tough when you let them loose, they can burn you. And the pass rush discipline isn't perfect. A guy like this can step into a gap and either make a throw and, like you said, burn you with your legs on a 3rd and long or whatever the case is when everything seems like it's covered. And that can just really take the air out of you as a defense, and it's hard to deal with. It is hard. It extends drives. It is something that you don't necessarily account for when you're building the defense or building coverages. So it'll be interesting to see what the pass rush game plan is from Jim Knowles. If we see a mixture of spy, if we see a 4-man, 5-man, whatever it looks like today, I think that'll be important to pay attention to today.
Well, obviously in the highlights of Moore, you could see all the weapons that they have. It's not just Dante Moore. This is an elite Oregon offense across the board. Sounds like they'll get Whittington, the running back tonight. This is a really dangerous group.
Yeah, and I got some plays that I really want to get into here. It's gonna show you what these guys have. I want to start here with the run game. Number 27, Lamar, and there's a few other guys. There's a stable of guys. Number 6, 0, 20, 27, Lamar. They're all the same type of guy. They all fall forward. They're all strong. They're big. They are one-cut runners. One-cut runner means they make one cut, they decide what they're going to do, and they go and do it hard. This is an example of that. Lamar here on the outside zone, he makes one cut on Northwestern, gets a big chunk play for about 11, 12 yards. And play number 2 I have here is Dante Moore. And one thing I love about this kid's game is when he sets his feet at the top of the pocket, they do not move. And Christian, you can speak to this. To more inexperienced quarterbacks, their feet can get real jittery. Maybe they don't know exactly what they're doing. This guy sets his feet and he delivers the football. I want you to watch this ball that he throws to Kenyon Sadiq, a guy who I think is going to be a first-round talent in next year's draft. This guy is fast. He is strong. He is physical. He's a do-it-all tight end for this offense. He's going to be critical in the red zone for them. Okay, play number 3. I've got Dante Moore again with his feet set. This ball is going to go to their 5-star freshman, Decorian Moore. And one thing I want you to see is the chemistry they have. You don't see quarterbacks just come out and throw back shoulder throws the way this guy puts this ball on Decorian Moore. Look at this ball. back shoulder right on the 1-yard line. It's like they've been doing it for years, and this guy is in year number 1. Fantastic. This is one thing I love about Dan Lanning and what he's doing with this Oregon team is they take advantage of each and every single phase. Now you look at special teams, they run a rugby punt. Rugby punt means that the punter is going to run out to the right side here. You're going to see these 3 blockers. They're all going to block. If this defense, if they don't respect this, then the punter is actually taught to take the ball and run. Now look at this. Oregon State doesn't respect it. This is an extra possession you are stealing for a high-octane offense, not what you want to do with an offense like this. Then I've got Sadiq on this yak catch. He goes, gets in the curl, finds his zone, and then watch what he does after the catch. This is where he's dangerous. This is what can propel him to be a first-round guy. He always makes the first guy miss, and that's very valuable as a tight end in this league. And then lastly, we talked about it before, Christian, Dante Moore's legs and what he can do. Boom, pause. Everything's covered. Look at this. You're not going to throw this. This guy's recovering. There is nothing there. Defense thinks that they've got him locked up, and then look at this. He gets flushed out of the pocket. 3rd and long. Look at that. The wideout is so loud, and then we go silent because we just couldn't contain him. That's going to be a problem today. The pass rush discipline is going to have to be fantastic to stop a guy like this. Dante Moore, great player.
Oregon offense, number 2 in the nation with 27 total touchdowns behind who? The Hoosiers of Indiana with 30, and they're 20 for 20 with the 16 red zone touchdowns this year. So they've been really good inside the red zone in big games like this. Red zone, 3rd down conversions. Penn State settled for probably too many field goals. 9 for 10 for Parker. It's a good start, but you want to get the ball into the end zone for 6 in a game like this, and you need to make sure you're converting on 3rd downs, where Penn State was better in their last game against Villanova, but that was an area they struggled over the first couple of games this year. So a game like this, talent across the board for Oregon, but it certainly magnifies as well those other areas you look at: explosive plays, red zone, turnovers, and converting on 3rd and 4th downs in a game like this.
Really, that's a simple thing. I was talking to Michael Motti about this earlier, and this is going to be a 400-level type chess match between the coordinators. It's going to be formational. It's going to be timeouts. It's going to be adjustments with the iPads and being able to see things. And to your point, it magnifies those things, but at the end of the day, when you cut through everything, that is what matters. That is what wins you games. It's time of possession. It's not turning the football over. It's explosive plays. It's red zone efficiency, and it's 3rd down conversion rate. All of those things kind of align to the same thing: possessing the football and putting points on the board. So those things do get magnified in this type of matchup, and it's going to come down to the most disciplined and mature football team. And I really think the team that can settle in the fastest with all of this madness that's going on around them, which is tough to do.
Did you know tonight is game number 409 for Penn State here?
It's a little crazy. Little crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's in the air. It's in the air.
I told you, it just feels like everything is pushing in Penn State's favor tonight. And it just feels like one of those nights, right?
I love it. I love it.
Could you tell as a player when it was one of those nights?
Yeah. No, I think you definitely could. I think even when you look to your left and your right and guys are in the locker room and you see the kind of the looseness, guys aren't tight. There's a certain confidence. There's a certain swagger or aura that's kind of going around the locker room. Even the guy who's on the aux playing the music, it's just each and every song that comes up next is just hitting right. I mean, you can just feel that type of energy, man. I think today's one of those days.
I can tell you what, Jason can attest to this. One of the things I did before every game, I did this since high school, was I'd make sure I walked around after we came in from pregame warm-ups. I made sure I walked around and gave everyone a handshake, gave everyone a dap, gave everyone a look in the eye, so I knew who was ready. And to your point, it was just a look. It was a look. It was a subtle confidence. If you got that, it made things usually roll out pretty well for you.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
More with Jason Kabinda, Christian Hackenberg when we return here on the Penn State Modelo pregame show. Modelo, the official import beer of Penn State football. Modelo, 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. So more still to come here on the pregame show. We'll dive into the Oregon defense, talk about the defenses, both of these teams, and also look back at the 95 Rose Bowl. Penn State hoping a little magic from that can carry over to tonight as well. That's all coming up here when we come back.
This is the mark of a fighter. A rich, full-flavored lager with a crisp, refreshing taste. A reward for those with a fighting spirit. You've heard this, so hold it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
We are going for all of You know the history, and you have felt the roar. But now, you can relive it all.
I think he was looking for a good meal, Italian meal.
Welcome to the Vault on Roar Plus, where every unforgettable Penn State moment lives forever.
If you can get people to believe you're fair, I think that's the whole secret of coaching.
From black and white grit to high-def glory, the Vault is your front row seat to the moments that built this tradition and the ones that built you as a fan. It's not just history, it's Penn State history. And it's all right here at Roar Plus. The roar never stops.
This is the mark of a fighter. A rich, full-flavored lager with a crisp, refreshing taste. A reward for those with a fighting spirit. You've earned this, so hold it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
And welcome back on a whiteout night here at Penn State and at Beaver Stadium for third-ranked Penn State and sixth-ranked Oregon, just the second ever top 10 matchup in a whiteout here. Brian Tripp, Christian Hackenberg, Jason Kabinda on the Modelo Penn State football pregame show, and we can tell outside there is a buzz. It's a sea of white. It's fun. We've got goosebumps. Like Jason, when he's breaking down those plays, he has me ready to run right through a wall. But we have to go inside the stadium. Kaylee Tallman is the fourth member of our team, and Kaylee, I can only imagine what it is like in there right now as we get closer to kickoff.
Yeah, Brian, if you could hear the bass in here, it is echoing throughout the stadium. The student section is already filling up, and you can't overstate just how big this game really is. Like you said, just the second ever top 10 whiteout. It's the whiteout. It's the biggest whiteout we've had here in Happy Valley for a long time. A rematch of the 2024 Big Ten Championship, and the first time the Ducks have been in Happy Valley since 1964. Now it means a little more to Penn State fans knowing that the last time the Nittany Lions beat the Ducks was back in 1995 in the Rose Bowl, following the iconic 1994 undefeated season. Let's take a look at how that game went for the Nittany Lions.
In 1994, Penn State finished the regular season 11-0, winning the Big Ten in just its second year competing in the conference. The key to Penn State's success that year was the offense, made up of running back Kajana Carter, tight end Kyle Brady, wide receiver Bobby Ingram, and quarterback Kerry Collins. That offense led the nation, averaging 47.8 points per game and 520 yards per game. To cap off the season, Penn State was set to play Oregon in the 1995 Rose Bowl. Heading into that game, it was predetermined that Nebraska would be the national champions after beating Miami in the Orange Bowl, leaving Penn State feeling like they had something to prove.
Which is like, hold on, I thought we played the game first. You know, why don't we just play the game and let you guys declare champion after the fact? But the way they did it really didn't rub us the right way.
One of the greatest teams I've ever been around, if not the greatest. We appreciate it. We're going to go out to Pasadena. We're going to play well and make you very proud.
Penn State used that game to make a statement. The Nittany Lions opened the scoring with an 83-yard touchdown by Kajana Carter.
It'll be touchdown, Penn State, first play of the ball game.
Penn State and Oregon traded touchdowns until the Nittany Lions went up 21-14 in the third quarter. With just 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, Penn State got the ball back thanks to a Chuck Penzenik interception, leading to another Kajana Carter touchdown. Penn State won the game 38-20, leaving many to wish Penn State had gotten a chance to play Nebraska for the national championship.
That you believe in your heart that this is the best team in the country. Well, there are a few hundred, a few thousand people here who will voice their opinion, Joe.
Well, I think I'll have to agree with them.
Yeah, we'll see if the Nittany Lions can embody some of that energy from that 1994 team here today, especially on the offensive side. That offense was so memorable for Penn State. And now Kajana Carter was iconic in that game. So many touchdowns, a lot of yards, instrumental in that win for Penn State. We'll see if Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen can contribute to the offense today like Kajana Carter did in that game. Let's see, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome night. Thanks so much, Kaylee. That's awesome stuff, as always. And that Penn State running game is going to be a big factor tonight. You look, they ran for almost 300 yards last year in the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. And we've kind of been waiting, all right? You played Nevada and FIU and Villanova and maybe looked a little sluggish at time, but you still took care of business. Tonight's the night, right? Tonight you have to break out in a big way. And I'll tell you, from being around the team over the last week and a half, I feel like they are prepared, and we're going to see some things, especially from that running game. And if you can run the football, there's no better friend for a quarterback.
No doubt. And, the one thing that I want to talk about is I talked about this team being vanilla, but it's vanilla in a complicated way, if that makes sense. Jack of all trades, master of none. And, when you're crafting an offense and how you're going to attack people, you really have to hone in on what your guys do best. And we talk about this offensive line. We've been talking about them since the preseason, the depth, the size, the strength, all of these things. But there's a bunch of moving parts. They're shifting positions. They're running gap scheme. They're running zone. They're running inside zone. They're running toss crack. There was a lot of misidentifications, a lot of things that are very easily fixed. But you can also help them out by narrowing down what you do and focusing on what you do best and what your guys can execute. And I fully expect that to be the case tonight. And how that translates is Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen get to focus on their keys and making those guys right. And everybody is pulling the rope in the right direction. And you do that by making it simple, stupid. And I think we're going to really hone in on that. And it could be an impact play because it does affect the passing game with more dynamic play actions and things of that nature, which I also needed to see more of early in terms of being able to push the ball down the field. So I think both of them are going to work very well. And like you said, Tripp, you've been around it. You've watched it. It seems to be headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you bring up, and I think it's a point that a lot of people brought up when they watched that Big Ten championship game last year, feeling like we were just a bit too gimmicky in the run game when we didn't need to. And I think that it kind of goes unsaid because we want to see Drew play at his highest level, and we want to see him take his next step. But, man, we are going to lean heavy on this run game and those big boys up front, those front five that we have. And I think getting downhill on this team, being able to establish the run very successfully the way we did in that game, I think that is the starting point for Drew to be able to impact this game in the way that we all know that he's capable of impacting this game.
And don't forget about 15 himself in that running game as well here tonight. Jason posed to our fans, hey, you got any questions? Hit us up. So let's hear from our fans. Our fan question here tonight. And Sam asks, who needs to step up and unlock this offense? Do we need Drew to be more vocal? I believe we can't win this game. Thanks for your opinion, Sam, without our offense looking much different than the first 3 games. So what needs to change to make that happen?
Christian?
Listen, I think Drew's been very under the microscope in terms of how he carries himself, and I think the simple way to do that is, you don't have to do it vocally. There's a lot of ways to lead, and there's a lot of ways to impact the game and kind of raise the tide and everybody else's play around you, and it comes down to playing the game. Like, Can Drew make 4 or 5 plays, as I said earlier, that are going to change the flow of the game that aren't necessarily there or weren't there to the naked eye, but because he is such a talented guy, can make those plays and he's capable of it. So I think that's a big factor. And then I think really the maturity of the whole team. Like, if it's not going to be Drew being a vocal guy, you do need an energy guy. Who's that going to be? Is it going to be Dom DeLuca? Is it going to be Nick Dawkins? Is it going to be somebody who's been here for a long time? And really hone into that. But, for Drew, I think he just really needs to focus on making sure that he wins the game to start, because that ends a lot of the conversation. And then after that, you can worry about, is it his technique? Is it how he's reading the defense? Is it how he, took his helmet off as he walked off the field? All those things get overanalyzed. But it starts with winning the football game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to focus on the key word in that tweet, and that was unlock. And I think for this offense to be unlocked, like I said before, it starts with the run. We have to force defenses out of shell coverage, out of the cover 2s, out of the cover 4s. We don't want 2 high safeties. We want 1 high safety. We want stacked boxes. We want to see man. And then I think at that point in time, with Coach Kotelnicki's ability to scheme and be creative, get guys open, I think that's when the offense really unlocks, and we see Drew's potential and his best sides come out in the game.
Well, we talked a lot about Penn State's offense right here, and we talked a lot about Oregon's offense earlier, but it is so darn good we have to go back to it again, Hackett.
Yeah.
They're averaging 51 points per game, 524 yards, and really balanced pass and run. But it is their receivers and their tight end, Sadiq, that will get a lot of attention tonight.
Yeah, listen, I think that this is a very, very dynamic group, and I'm gonna try to slow this down here. Dakarian Moore, man, this kid for a freshman, a true freshman 5-star, looks like a grown man and plays like one as well. 50-50 ball, very strong hands ability, but this is just one where he creates a lot of separation. And then this is the scary part. Makes guys miss and can turn it into a track meet that he's going to win most of the time. So he's a guy that we're definitely going to have to contain. Good versus good. We've talked about how well our defensive backfield has played up until this point. He's going to be a challenge. And then, as you mentioned, Trip, Sadiq, very, very unique body type. 6'3", 245. Jason, you mentioned his run after catch ability. He's a receiver in a tight end's body. Kind of like that perfect combination. A Mike Gesicki, but that's Pat Fryermuth. You know what I mean? In terms of the body size, and skill set. So Sadiq here, little play action, kind of slides out, gets the ball to him, turns it up. And due to some technical difficulties, you guys are going to have to go to YouTube and see how that ended. But Sadiq's a very, very good football player, and they have a plethora of guys. It's not just those two. They have a plethora of guys, and you have a quarterback who's playing confident, and that's why I go back to how this Oregon offense operates is ultimately going to fall on 5 shoulders, and very, very talented player, excited to watch him play. How does he react in this environment?
Yeah, maybe one of the great matchups tonight is Will Stein, the offensive coordinator for Oregon, going against Jim Knowles. Stein got him in Eugene last year, and then Knowles shut down Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So we have all these people standing around here. We're talking a lot about the Oregon offense. So for everyone standing here and everyone watching at home, Jason, take us through what we need to know about this Oregon defense here tonight.
Yeah, and I think one thing I want to start off before I get to some plays here is their defensive ends, because we talk so much about the run game and what we're going to have to do, and that's getting stretch on the edges, man. That's getting stretch. That's being able to get movement up front. And these two guys that they have up front on the edges, number 10 and number 44, Tuioti and Ugalele, they are big J.J. Watt, Joey Bosa type bodies who are strong, athletic enough, and really make a lot of plays and really have high motors. I want you to look at number 44, Tuioti, right here at the top of your screen. He just has a sift technique here, and he just plays his keys so well, and he's just one of those guys that is balls to the wall each and every single play. Now I want you to look at these Oregon DBs, man. They talk about how freaking athletic these DBs are. I want you to look at number 31, Thiedemann, at the top of your screen here. They're going to run a little wide receiver screen out to the number 2 wide receiver. Watch the way Thiedemann closes. He's 10 yards away from this guy. Look at that close. Doesn't set up his feet, and I know he doesn't immediately make the tackle, but he makes that play. And that's really important, to be able to trust safeties that can do that. Now, I want you to look at the top of your screen here. They've got simulated pressure. They're bringing a linebacker, and then you're going to watch Tuioti. He's going to take the inside of this tackle here, and this is just a motor sack. This is just a guy who does not stop. He gets over here, he makes a tackle on this quarterback, and look at him jump up with that energy. You can tell the defense plays with this energy each and every single snap. Now this fourth play, I want you guys to look at Jerry Mixon, the linebacker. They're in a 3-by-1. You got 3 receivers up top here. They're going to run a quick double slant route right here, and they're in a cover 1 wrap with this safety going to the middle of the field. Everyone's in man. He doesn't have a man because this running back's going to flare out. Now watch his eyes and the way he watches this quarterback. Watch his eyes. Quarterback turns right. Jerry Mixon looks left, gets through the first slant window here, gets through this first slant window, and then goes to the second, makes this pick, and takes it all the way to the house. That is an all-star linebacker play right there. You don't see that often out of linebackers in help coverage. Then you got Tuioti again. He got the sift block. He's going to close this space here, realize that the quarterback has the ball, and he's going to put his foot in the ground and just accelerate. And watch this guy's motor. Watch this guy go. I mean, the quarterback, he can't even get a throw off because of the speed that 44 is closing him on. Now I'm going to highlight Ugalele. I got a spin move on the outside here. This is a big body making a spin move like this on this offensive tackle. That's not easy to guard. Guys like Nolan Rucci, they're going to have their hands full this weekend. Then you got 44 one more time on a sift technique. They are taught to go and tackle this dive and then get the quarterback if he pulls it. Well, that running back's got that ball. He makes that play. I mean, it's just a really high effort group, and we're gonna have to pick them apart schematically. We're gonna have to finish harder. The O-line's gonna have to strain each and every play, but this is a do not give up defense with a very nasty attitude.
That is some of the best use of the telestrator that I have ever seen. I mean, that is rivaling what John Madden used to do. I'm just waiting for a couple of booms and bangs in there as well. I mean, that is some good stuff, my friend.
Jay, to your point though too, and I'm not skimming over that.
Yeah, I know.
Trip. That was phenomenal. But this defense plays a lot like their head coach.
Yeah.
Their attitude, and you can tell. You forget Dan Lanning was the defensive coordinator of arguably one of the best defenses in the history of college football at Georgia when they won that national championship, and before he took that job over there in Oregon and Eugene. So I got a ton of respect for how he teaches it, and you can see they play with the same type of attitude and attention to detail that he brings to the table. Every time I get to see it, whether it's a press conference or a public appearance, whatever it is, he's a very buttoned-up, well-detailed guy. So,
and they've seemed to rise to the occasion in a big game. There's no question. This is a big game. I know the team's getting ready to arrive here at Beaver Stadium. The sea of white outside, and you see everyone waiting for James Franklin and the Nittany Lions to file into West Shore home field at Beaver Stadium on what has become a little bit blustery, cloudy right now. It's dry here. I think it's going to stay that way, but the team arrival coming up in just moments. It's a big game. It's a big game for Drew Aller. It's a big game for James Franklin. It's a big game for this Penn State football program. If it wants to, very few programs nationally have been as consistent and as good as Penn State has been over the last 8 years. But if they want to get to where they want to go this year, this is the type of game you have to win to help you get yourself there at the end of the year.
It's the type of game, you talked about it, even from the 409, the weather, all this stuff. There's a ton of things that have ultimately put you at this point. It's the pinnacle. This is what you live for as a player.
Yeah.
This is what you live for as a player. It's what you live for as a coach and as a competitor. So I'm excited. You talked about the minutia of the game. Those things are going to come out. But ultimately, it's the Jimmies and Joes, and to me, this is going to fall on 15 shoulders. Can 15 come out and make those plays? Can he be the guy that this team, this fan base, this community can rely on? It's not an easy task. It's an opportunity tonight, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah, let's take a look at Drew's season numbers here so far. You see 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. One thing he always does is take care of the football. It doesn't matter if he's on, off. He always takes care of the football for Penn State. Throwing at 65% completion percentage right now, but they want to find a way to stretch the ball a little bit more offensively in the passing game and create more explosive plays.
You got a bunch of new toys outside this offseason in the transfer portal. I've seen a lot of possession passing with them, and obviously 7.1 yards average pass completion. With what you have, the running game you have, that doesn't add up. That's more of a Mike Leach, West Coast throw to space, let these guys go, or air raid, throw to space, let these guys go type of number. With Drew, I really want to see them open it up and this vertical passing game become an impact within the game plan.
Oh, there's no question. James Franklin talked about it this week, and something that we're going to hear on the pregame show tonight on the radio side, that this is a big game as well. He knows it.
These games, we want to keep our process as consistent as we possibly can, and that should be evolving every week. We should get better at it individually and collectively. But there's also the aspect that we need our big-time players, our best players, to step up in these moments. We want to embrace the whiteout. We want to embrace these type of games, these type of opponents, and lean into it. And the best way to do that is having your best players step up and lead, not only verbally, but through their actions on the field.
It's a big game. There's obviously a ton at stake for this program, what it means for this year and what it means overall for the current dynamic and where Penn State football is at. And I think that's not lost on anyone walking into this stadium trying to make an impact themselves tonight.
Yeah, and I think Coach Franklin, he put it best. He talked about, embracing the whiteout. And really what that means is embracing the pressure that comes with the position that you are in as a Penn State football player. And I think that's why I love our fans. I love our students so much, because I could be sitting in Econ 402 on a Tuesday with the Ohio State game on Saturday. And as much as we're locked into this class, I've got my buddy right next to me who's just a regular student. He's hitting me like, bro, you're going to freaking get JT Barrett this weekend. Like, I know you are. And it's like, when you get those kind of comments from your students, you're just in the middle of the class. Like, this thing means so much to this community. It means so much to this team, so much to this organization. And, it's a blessing to be able to carry those expectations and to know that each and every individual effort that you put in throughout that week is going to contribute to the result that happens that Saturday. I think that's a special thing.
Wasn't lost on me that Penn State football players do go to class. That wasn't lost on me right there. Hack, this is a huge game.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, as you said. And we've talked about this maturation of this program and Coach Franklin's consistency and this hump and the whole conversation of great to elite. And these are the type of moments. And one thing that I do want to point out, you don't get a lot of those opportunities when you are as consistent as Coach Franklin has been throughout the year. You're going to have 2 or 3 matchups throughout the year where that is ultimately going to dictate where you end up at the end of the season when you are beating who you're supposed to beat. We got the guys rolling in right now in their white jumpsuits to match the fans. But, yeah, to your point, Tripp, it's a big thing. Coach Franklin made a lot of really good points, and you're seeing a shift in his mentality, and I really like it.
You're waiting around all day for a game like this, right? It's not at noon. The fans are waiting around all day. You're amped up for the game. As a player, when you finally get the chance to walk into the stadium tonight, what is that feeling after waiting around and waiting for kickoff? And for Penn State, it's been 2 weeks waiting for this game.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I used to hate was sitting in that hotel just waiting and waiting.
Me nuts.
I mean, as a player, mentally, it eats at you because you really got to balance your emotions all day long.
You just don't say to all these people right here that you like noon games, or you're going to get booed up here on the side.
I mean, truly, though, I mean, it's tough.
3:30 is the sweet spot. I will say that. That's the happy medium.
You know, that emotional balance as a player to not peak too high or too soon or not be too low and stay in that just right area so you can really unleash it and let it go at the right point in time. It's tough, but, man, when you finally do walk on that field and on a game like tonight where the fans get in the stadium a little bit extra early because they want to watch the warm-ups, they want to see the quarterbacks throw routes on air and things of that nature, man, you just feel the gravity. You feel the volume as soon as you walk onto that field. And I think that gets those guys ready emotionally, spiritually, everything you need to go and unleash all that energy.
Well, it's hard to believe. It still is relatively early in this college football season. You look at both Oregon and Penn State's remaining schedules as both these teams want to compete for a national championship this year. Penn State at UCLA, Northwestern at Iowa. You don't get this one tonight, then all of a sudden this narrative continues until you go to Columbus on the 1st of November. So you have to go through all of October with this hanging over your head if you don't win this football game tonight.
It's mental warfare from that point, too, right? You can control some of these things, but there's always going to be noise, and you want to do your best to eliminate those things or not feed the beast that is the media and the talking heads as I'm sitting up here on stage talking to all of you guys.
Welcome to this side. Welcome to this side. Come on over to the dark side.
But you want to give them the least amount of fuel for their fire, and, that's why, they play the game, and today's a great opportunity to hopefully silence some of those conversations, and then it's an extended playoff. You got a lot more opportunities.
All right, we hear all the time about blocking out the noise. Can you actually do it in this day and age of, like Jason said, being in a 400 level class? And believe me, 400 level classes are hard. I teach one. But you talk about this day and age, social media, and everything going on. Can you actually block out the noise?
I mean, I think it's tough. I mean, I was one of those guys that during training camp, during super locked-in periods of time, I tried to straight up just delete the apps off of my phone. I didn't even bother to dabble in it because it's hard when you're on there. And maybe you're just taking a quick 5-minute scroll before you go to bed. It seems harmless. Then you come across a Penn State football article. You click it. Then all of a sudden you're in the comments. And, it can just be tough. Yeah, there's a lot of rabbit holes on social media. So you try to avoid it. So, yes, I think especially in this day and age, it's tougher for this aged athlete to do it in this time. I think it was just exploding when we were in college. So it's a different time now. But, yeah, I think the best way to silence it is to delete it. That's the best solution.
I think it's impossible, but another way to do it is to win.
I love that. I love that. I think the only noise we've been hearing today in all the tailgating lots is that a lot of ducks are going to get plucked today. Is that what I've heard? Pluck the ducks? That's what I've been hearing today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard as well.
Did you say PL?
Yes, pluck the ducks.
All right.
All right, we saw the team arrive here at Beaver Stadium. Kaylee Tallman inside, where I'm sure it's getting even more ramped up, Kaylee, as the team starts to make its way out onto the field.
Yeah, Brian, if you can't tell by the volume at which I'm talking, I can barely hear myself think in here. So much so that we actually asked people in here, is it louder than normal? And they said, yeah, we've actually brought more speakers down to the sidelines to increase the volume in the stadium even more. Now there's just a buzz in here. It's the most full I've ever seen it in my 4 years being a student here this much early before the game. Head coach James Franklin should be coming out here in a second. And Jason, you said something about being locked in class on Thursday, even though there's a big game coming up. I can tell you we were not locked in class on Thursday. We were excited, ready to go. Here's head coach James Franklin actually right now rocking around, greeting the fans. As for an availability report, no major updates on the Penn State side. However, Noah Whittington for Oregon is not listed as questionable or out for the game, so he should be ready and set to go here today. I am so excited for this football game, guys.
Well, Kaylee, if you say that too close to the coach, he's going to tell you to lock the duck in out there. Just be careful. Kaylee, thank you so much. We can't wait to get inside and watch this one as well. Great work, as always, here today. All right, time for our picks and our predictions for tonight's game. Who wants to go first? Where are we starting here with this big one?
I'll jump in there. I really do think, as I said, it's going to be a chess match to start. So you're going to see a lot of jabs. The first quarter, I would expect someone to try to grab the momentum. Whether it hits or not could ultimately dictate the rest of it. But I do think it's going to be a sparring match, trying to figure everything out, settling in the second quarter. I expect it to be back and forth. Vegas usually isn't wrong. 3.5 points. I think the overall the total is 52.5. I think it's going to be a 27, 24, 28, 27, 31, 28 type of ball game. And I do think with this atmosphere, with the maturity of our football team, kind of the untested Dante Moore stepping into this, that our boys pull it out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you there. I'm on the same page. I do think it's going to take about 31 points, though, for our Penn State team to win this game. I got Penn State 31 to Oregon's 27. I think that it's going to be one of those games where the last team that has the ball just so happens to win and they just run out of time. I think it's going to be us with that ball last to win this game. So I'm going to go Penn State 31-27 today.
Yeah, with all these people wearing white around, we got to pick Penn State, and I really do. I think tonight is the night. I think this is a team that's poised. It's kind of set the stage for this mark. I know there's questions about what they've gone through in their non-conference schedule, but I'll tell you, when you have a mature veteran football team that returns its nucleus, and I think they figured out what their identity was with the self-scout in that bye week, and I think this is a team that's going to run the football well tonight. I think Penn State wins it, and I think they easily cover the 3.5 points tonight. I just feel like tonight is a big night. I think they easily cover the 3.5 points, and Penn State wins it tonight. With all these people around, can I do this once? We are. Thank you.
Yeah, baby. I love it.
Now, there is only one way to end the Modelo Penn State football pregame show. Now, it was a couple of weeks ago, so if we have to jog your memory here, let's take a look back at how we ended it last time. A smooth chug from Jason Gabinda and Christian Hackenberg. Remember, 21 plus, please drink responsibly. Modelo, the official import beer partner of Penn State football, and the can crush and the smash.
You gonna smash that one?
I'm not gonna smash.
We got bottles up here today, brother.
Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Are you gonna do the thing?
I only got a little bit left, but I opened you a brand new one.
For Jason Gabinda, Christian Hackenberg, Kaylee Tallman, and our entire crew, thanks for watching. Thanks to all the great fans for stopping by here as well. Nittany Lions tonight, taking on Oregon. Thanks for tuning in.
This is the mark of a fighter. A rich, full-flavored lager with a crisp, refreshing taste. A reward for those with a fighting spirit. You've earned this, so hold it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
We are going for all the marbles next year.
You know the history, and you have felt the roar. But now, you can relive it all.
I think he was looking for a good meal, an Italian meal.
Welcome to the Vault on Roar Plus, where every unforgettable Penn State moment lives forever.
If you can get people to believe you're fair, I think that's the whole secret of coaching.
From black and white grit to high-def glory, The vault is your front row seat to the moments that built this tradition and the ones that built you as a fan. It's not just history, it's Penn State history. And it's all right here at Roar Plus. The roar never stops.
This is the mark of a fighter. A rich, full-flavored lager with a crisp, refreshing taste. A reward for those with a fighting spirit. You've earned this, so hold it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.